Hello guys, full time at the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal 4, Bayer Leverkusen 1, the battle between the two invincible clubs, and listen, the OG Invincibles came out on top. It's a really excellent result. I know it's pre-season and the result is not of paramount importance, but this is an excellent Leverkusen team that were almost unbeaten in every single competition last season, only lost the Europa League final. And we dominated them, particularly in that first 45 minutes, which I think I'll spend the bulk of my time talking about because, I think that was really the game. Once you start getting into the changes, inevitably these matches lose some of their tempo, some of their rhythm, some of their structure. But I thought it was a brilliant first half from Arsenal. And I think winning is important in pre-season. Winning is a culture and you need to establish that and keep that consistent. And I think I've just seen a little bit of Xabi Alonso talking in his press conference after the game, and he described it as a wake-up call. I think he will have been disappointed in the performance, disappointed in the result. So that tells you managers and players at this point in time, this close to the start of the competitive campaign, are taking these games pretty seriously. I wasn't there today after a couple of weeks in the US. I'm having some much-needed time around the family. But I did watch the game through Arsenal.com, and like I say, I was thoroughly impressed. Well, what to say about the starting lineup? Saliba and Gabriel back together, David Raya behind them. That brings a lot of solidity, a lot of structure. Ben White at right back, Alexander Zinchenko at left back. And his performance, I think, is worth talking about. There had been some speculation, some suggestion that he could leave the club. I think I wrote it myself in The Athletic. He would be available if the right sort of bid came in. 2 years remaining on his contract. No talks yet about an extension. But he has been used when he's been available in pre-season. He's also changed squad number. He's gone to number 17, which is his number with the Ukraine. He offered to reimburse anybody who previously had his old squad number, was it 35? Something like that, printed on their shirt this summer. I don't think that's the sort of thing that happens if a player's about to depart the club. They change squad number and say they'll pay for you to change a shirt number. It looks like he's going to be here for the coming season, and invariably when he is here, Mikel Arteta likes to use him. Maybe lost faith a little bit towards the back end of last season, but I think he'll play plenty of minutes, even with the arrival of Calafiori. And he scored a brilliant goal, sweeping home the ball from the edge of the box to open the scoring. I should talk a bit about the left-back position, because something I noticed, I think it was in the Liverpool pre-season friendly in the US, in Philadelphia, was I think we've slightly changed how we're inverting the left-back. We've inverted the left-back for some time, since Zinchenko came into the club. But I think we're doing it more aggressively now. I noticed it particularly when Miles Lewis-Skelly came on in that game, and it felt at times in the second half of that Liverpool friendly that he was almost playing as a kind of central defender. Like there were moments where Gabriel was outside Lewis-Skelly, and it was the same in this game with Gabriel and Zinchenko. It's almost like when Zinchenko moved into midfield, we went to a back three with Gabriel defending that wide left channel, and Zinchenko was in such central spaces. Almost as a kind of the way John Stones pushes on from centre half. Listen, I know it's not new, but I think if you watch this pre-season friendly back, and we'll see if it continues into the competitive season, the left back is going into central areas earlier in build-up, in my opinion. It's just something I've spotted, and I wonder if it's partly with a view to what Calafiori might do for us. He's so good in those central spaces, receiving the ball, turning. I think Julian Timber's so good at it as well. And I think more so than ever, those fullback players are going to be playing effectively in holding midfield when we're in possession of the ball. And I think, with Gabriel, Saliba, maybe White, maybe Timber, we'll see what happens there. They're going to be asked to defend even bigger spaces. But they're capable of it. And Gabriel showed that today. He comes back into the starting lineup and looks like he hasn't missed a beat. Anyway, that could be a good thing for Zinchenko, could be a good thing for Calafiori, we'll find out. But it's just something to keep an eye on. I spotted it in America, I saw it again today. It's even more aggressive inversion, and I think it's earlier inversion. I'm not a coach, but that's what I've seen. The second goal I loved. Leandro Trossard scored it, but the way that it was created, I think Trossard won the ball high up the pitch, But then the passing, I mentioned the Invincibles at the top of this video. Did I? I recorded the intro several times because I kept screwing it up, so maybe I forgot this time. It was a very Wenger-ish goal in terms of the way the players, instead of shooting, always looked for the guy in the better position. And then eventually it found its way to Trossard, and the composure to just turn his man and slot it. I loved that goal. Normally if you saw that goal in a friendly, you'd say, oh, that's a player in a friendly. They know they can afford to take that risk. But Trossard is very, very cool in those attacking positions, and he showed that there. He's got a very good chance of starting the season on the left wing. Even though Martinelli's had a decent pre-season, he's a couple of weeks ahead of him, Trossard, isn't he? Because of Copa America, because of when they joined up with training, maybe a week or so ahead. And I wonder if that might give him the edge for the opening day of the Premier League. We shall see. Third goal came from Gabriel Jesus. Big game from Gabriel Jesus. Looked energetic, looked sharp. Great to see him on the score sheet again as well. Kai Havertz played in midfield behind him. It's an interesting one, isn't it? We've seen that a few times in pre-season now. Almost like a kind of big man, little man strike partnership with Jesus and Havertz, although Havertz is ostensibly playing in midfield. Will we stick with that, or will we go with Havertz up top? If we do sign someone like a Mikel Merino to play that left 8 role, will that mean Havertz goes back up top? I think so. But if the plan is to keep Jesus up top and play Havertz in midfield, well, I'm going to come out and say I think we need another number 9. I think we need another starting or alternative centre forward, because if we're seriously thinking about playing Havertz 25, 30 games in midfield, I don't think Jesus and Nketiah is enough at number 9. I don't think it will be that, to be honest. I think Kai Havertz, when the season starts, will probably be playing a lot of football as the number 9, and then I think Jesus is a brilliant alternative, and that's probably enough for you, especially if you can add another, let's say, versatile forward who could play across the front line. If you sell Nelson, sell Nketiah. But yeah, if we are thinking about playing Havertz a lot in midfield, I think we need a better sub-striker than what we've got currently, because you need someone who can give Jesus a rest, who can come on at 70 minutes and make a difference. We kind of need 3 players for those 2 roles, if that makes sense. So I do think there might still be something missing there. But Jesus doing really well and looking much sharper than he did last season. What else to say? I mean, look, second half was the second half. I think what was really nice was that Arteta gave a lot of the youngsters a run out. I think Lewis Skelly got the most minutes, maybe, along with Ethan Nwaneri. It was probably the most impressive. He's very physical, Lewis Skelly, for a guy who's 17. He bounces off people and is completely undaunted by playing against senior players. He seems to really relish the contact, seems to ride challenges brilliantly, intelligent use of the ball. He did get caught out a bit on the goal that Leverkusen got back. That's partly just a function of, I think, the role he's been asked to play as this kind of super inverted left back. Again, when he came on, he was in such central areas from so early on in the build-up. And time to time, it looked like he got caught out. I'm curious to sort of see as it develops, because he's a central midfield player, really. Is this the role that Mikel Arteta envisions for him? Arteta was quite integral in the conversion of Fabian Delph from a central midfielder to a left back at Man City. Maybe see some parallels there. Zinchenko, of course, Arteta worked on that as well. Maybe he looks at Lewis Skelly and thinks he could be that kind of player. The interesting thing is we've got a lot of left backs. I've spoken about Zinchenko, I've spoken about Calafiori, Jurien Timber, Jakub Kiwior still in the squad, Kieran Tierney still in the squad, albeit sidelined, Tomiyasu still in the squad. How many opportunities are there really going to be for Lewis Skelly as a left back? I'm not so sure. I think, certainly a couple of those players could leave the club in the near future. Even so, it's quite a congested pathway. And I want to see as well what he can do in midfield. When I look at the way he's able to kind of use his muscularity and his ball control to get away from people, actually, what do Arsenal need? They need a replacement for Thomas Partey in the long term. Jorginho is a very different type of player, really good passer, positional intelligence, Partey, he's a good passer of the ball, but it's that ability to sort of wriggle away from his man that I think makes him exceptional on his day. And I actually think if you've watched much of Lewis Skelly in the academy sides, that's somewhere where he really excels, and we're even seeing a bit of it in the first team. So I do hope he gets a chance there at some stage, but it's probably good for his development to be playing at left back, and I'm sure he's learning an awful lot. Other youngsters got on as well, Aidan Heaven, Josh Nichols at right back, who I think quietly has done really well. You know, I didn't know a lot about him coming into pre-season. I think he's been really kind of tigerish and aggressive. He looks, I hope you wouldn't mind me saying this, but he looks about 12 years old, but he doesn't play like it. He's played really well and done his chances of involvement in the first team training, no harm whatsoever. Again, quite a congested path to the first team, but certainly one to keep an eye on. Kai Havertz got his goal, waka waka, and yeah, 4-1, a really fantastic scoreline. Got another friendly against Lyon on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to it. Arsenal, this was our best pre-season performance to date, and that's what you want, right? We're sort of hitting the gradient at the right time. And I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.